Hello and welcome to TIM-DND. Today I'm going to talk about whether or not I'm going to switch from the 2014 rule system for Dungeons& and Dragons to the 2024 version. The simple answer to this is no, I'm not. Um, Anyone who's watched my How I Got into Dungeons& and Dragons video, my introduction to the channel, will know that I started off playing Dungeons& and Dragons quite a while ago with the Beckme rules and more specifically the rule cyclopedia after I'd originally got the red box, blue box of Beckme. This had everything from the other boxes sort of all in one book, so that's what I used for some time. This was great. It gave me everything I needed at the time I was playing. I was happy with the rules in there. We changed things around. We used some of the more advanced bits in the book to give us some more options, and it was all great. The reason I changed from that to the modern game was literally because when my stepdaughter said, "Shall we go and play Dungeons and Dragons in a group?" and I hadn't played for many, many years, they were using these rules. So I picked up these to get myself up to date with it a little bit more, so that we could make characters before we went to the store where we were going to be playing. And also because I'd been watching Critical Role and things, and obviously they'd been using this system, and I was intrigued as to how many different things had changed. Started this. I was quite happy with the 2014 rules. I haven't come across anything major that I thought, "Oh, this really stinks, this really needs changing." I'm sure there's some little niggly things, but to be honest, there are niggly things all the time with this as well. I, I think there always will be. In every game system which is this complex, there's going to be little things which don't combine well or raise questions or make certain character types overpowered in certain ways. I don't see it as an issue. I don't see that Dungeons and Dragons is a game about balance. It's not like 40k or other tabletop war games where you want two sides which are of equal ability to compete against each other, because it's a cooperative storytelling game. It doesn't matter if your character is better than another, or if your character is much better at combat, because that other character, which isn't, is going to be good at other things. And realistically, the dungeon master should be aware of these things and make sure that every character at the table gets a chance to shine in one respect or another. That's the dungeon master's job. Um, so why would I change? I can't really see. I've seen some clips on different channels about how the player's handbook has changed. I don't think it's given you any more character classes or races as such. It's allowing. It's going to keep you up to date with D&D Beyond and things like that, which I don't use anyway. I'm quite happy with pen and paper because I'm old. Uh, and in all honesty, I prefer it as pen and paper around the table. I find phones and things around the table a bit of a distraction. The most I use is my laptop on just to have some background music in the which changes up if we go into a fight. Um, so I don't want extra things being fiddled with, or how do I access this? Oh no, my phone's crashed. That messes up the way I run my game. Um, and we don't play online, so again, that doesn't affect me. Other things in the game, I think realistically, all they've done is add things into certain character classes to allow them to do different things with some of the abilities they already had. And I think it's just their way of trying to address power creep over the editions, and probably as typical for these sorts of things, will make your characters slightly better in this new edition because that will make you want to buy the new books. Again, if you're sticking with the same system and all your players are happy with that system, why change? Why give anyone extra stuff if you're quite happy with the stuff you've got. Um, I haven't had an issue, as I said, with any of the character types so far that we've run. I haven't had a real concern that the game's unbalanced as yet. There's plenty of stuff that you can do on your own back to alter things if you feel that something overbalances the game to a greater extent than you can realistically deal with. Um, Dungeons and Dragons is a game for homebrewing. It's always been a game from its very first inception where the creator said, do what you need to do to make these rules, change it as you want to. When people used to ring Gary Gygax at home, because that was a thing you could do then, um, and come to him with a problem that they'd discovered in the game, he'd say, how did you resolve that problem? And then he would say, yeah, that sounds all right. And he might even take notes if it was a good way of resolving the problem and add it into his next product. He was more than happy for people to come in and put their own emphasis or changes or whatever on the game. And I have always done the same thing since I've been playing the Rule Cyclopedia and since I've been playing 5e. Adjust the game as you want, add things that you want um, in a way that it makes all the players happy. It shouldn't be a case that you can't ever. Um, and I'm not going to invest another 60, 70, £80 on a load of new books which do very little different to this book, or at least very little which I can't adjust if I wanted to anyway. Um, in the monsters manual, there's some monsters in there which I haven't um, got from the previous book, and some that I had, which weren't in here. If I want anything from in here, I just adapt it into the 5e version. It doesn't bother me. If there's anything in the 5e version which I want to change, I do. I think the only major difference, as far as I can tell, and obviously it's not been released yet, but I'm hoping the Dungeon Master's Guide for 2024 is a little bit more user friendly than the 2014 one. I'm hoping this for new players because I've been a dungeon master for many years. I know how to DM as far as I'm concerned. I don't need a book which tells me how to DM. I think the Dungeon Master's Guide would be more user friendly if I could easily find some of the stuff I need in it. But it doesn't bother me that I can look things up in there eventually if I need to. But if not, I make a ruling on the fly because that's what dungeon masters do also. So for new players, I think a more user-friendly Dungeon Master Guide definitely a useful tool. For players who have already been playing, who already know how to Dungeon Master, or who have got a person who knows how to Dungeon Master who can teach you how to Dungeon Master, I don't think the new books are necessarily going to be any use. That's not the right word. I don't think they're going to be necessary. And I'm not going to spend a large amount of money on something which to me isn't necessary. So going forwards, I'm not changing the system I use. My videos tend to be fairly broad-based anyway. I don't focus on specific rules, but all my videos going forwards will be based off of what I know from the 2014 handbooks and the BetMe books. I won't be referencing specifically those anyway, I don't think very much. But I certainly won't be referencing the 2024 books unless Hasbro like to send me them for free, and I might even review them. But I can't imagine that happening because they've done that to a lot of much bigger sites than I've got, and my 40 odd viewers so far. I'm sure they're not going to be too bothered about, and they're certainly not going to be giving free books out to me. Certainly not yet. But there you go. That's where I stand on that. I would say if you're thinking of changing, just think to yourself: is it necessary? Do I need to totally change the books I use for this game? Do I need all these added advantages for the players, for the classes, or can I just homebrew my own if I feel that this particular class needs something extra? Um, it's always down to choice. It's always down to your own personal preferences. I personally don't see the need to buy a new set of books, which I mean, by their own admission, can be used with the books that we've got now. Um, Suggests there's not that much of a change, not enough to warrant spending out that huge amount of money. Um, Again, personal choice. That's mine. That's my two penneth into the conversation. Um, Short video this time. I'll see you around next time, guys. Please like and subscribe. Leave some comments below with what you think about the new additions, and catch you on the next vid.